No, thank you. Thank you for joining. So the first thing is that the objective of this conference is to really always celebrate the people in the Eastern Himalayas who are doing things which are naturally very sort of unifying and not taking away from Earth. This is the eighth one. We've done about 150 such awards. And these awards have gone to people in all the states, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Nepal. This year, we've fortunately been requested by Myanmar also, can they join this confluence? And it's not a political geography, but it's an ecological geography. And therefore, our Eastern Himalayas consists of Myanmar, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and the northeastern states, including North Bengal. So I think the objective is to honor these people and say that, okay, these are the good things. And then how do we expand it? And we can give you examples of that after the forum. Two is that the forum this time is really talking about a much larger global subject, and it's not just the Eastern Himalayas. But we said in this global subject, is Eastern Himalayan ready to become the experiment of the world and actually do this, take it to the next level, which is to say that we are actually part of world leaders rather than world followers because we missed the industrial bus. The only two industries that are rampant here organized way are the tea industry and the oil industry. Other than that, there is nothing. But just as well and fortuitous, because both the tea industry and the oil industry are very challenged in terms of monocultures, because they've done it for 150 years. Therefore, the law of the land, the soil is totally affected. So, and therefore, we've got other challenges with plantation economics. Two is that the oil industry itself is in a challenge. Primarily, I think the world is wanting to get into net zero, which is decarbonize the world. And I think the oil industry is not bad. It provided a great opportunity for us. So the context of this industry is that how can we learn from world leaders? And we've got 115 participants from the globe, from government, private sector, corporate sector, NGOs, and global reformers who actually helping to make this what you call world a more different place in the next four. Lastly, we just wanted to also popularize the fact that why can't India become a hub of actually leading this with the Eastern Himalayas? And there were four phases that we define actually is that the first phase is agriculture up to 1700, where the world was actually agriculture, no industry. Then from 1700 to 1900, roughly, it was a world where there were two phases. There was industrialization kick-started by energy for movement, etc. And then it moved on to better, brighter, faster, cheaper, which is the American model, which is the wealth of nations and everything that Adam Smith pushed, and then the League of Nations, etc. And that really brought about the challenge and also the growth in terms of distribution of wealth. Then the third part, which is really there, is the technology revolution from industrial revolution, which is the IT revolution, along with the fact that we are now at the cutting edge of what I would call machine learning and artificial intelligence. So that's really where we are. So agriculture, industry, technology, and we are at this place. We believe there's a new phase coming, and that new phase is because we've destroyed the world in such a big way by taking more extractive stuff and taking away more resources. We are now at that phase where we actually have to have the ecological revolution, which we are calling the naturenomics revolution. Naturenomics, why? Because naturenomics is the interdependence between nature and economics. And there's a formula which we've done, and we've done a calculative methodology with London Business School, Yale, Delhi School of Economics, Guwahati, and Kunming University. So we've created a value system which can value the real world other than just stock market valuation, which seems to be the way that is going forward. So it's not just about triple bottom line, it's about much more than that. We destroy less and make more. So that is the purpose of the context of the real conference. If we achieve our objectives, which I wrote in the letter, of getting more ideas, how to get to net zero faster, how to get more employment, how to get calculation for nature, I think we would have achieved it. I know you personally have an interest in the subject, like most people who are leaders do have, and I do not know how deep it runs. So my first question will be personally, how involved are you with it? I know that your organizational mantra can follow thereafter. So over to you, Sanjay.
Yeah, I think, and I'll add the question that you asked even earlier in your question, and also ecology is economy.
Yeah.
That is a question that you had?
Yes.
And I do definitely believe that ecology is economy. And I think one thing that pandemic has taught us is how important relationships are and people are in our lives.
Mm.
However, till the time pandemic came, we took it for granted. I do believe that we need to hand over a world to our children where they can continue to experience green grass and smell of roses. They need to experience the rain or the snow as we experience it in our lifetime. And the question which comes is, are we taking all this for granted, like we took the relationship for granted before pandemic hit us? Uh, when I see around us in India, we have seen the impact of floods and cyclones in the last few years, which was almost not known before that. And in our quest for economic growth, we are forgetting we have to take care of the nature, the balance between us and the nature.
Mm.
So in my judgment, and I don't know as much as you know, Ranjit, I do think to keep this world beautiful for our children, we need ecology before economy. I also feel that Balipara Foundation, what you just said, and when I read through it, is doing a great job in bringing focus on this issue with this very aptly called Eastern Himalayan Nature Economics Forum. So I am excited. I know a little bit, but I put my weight behind the idea that ecology is economy.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. In fact, there was a recent conference in which the leadership in India, which is both political and bureaucratic, participated. They said the challenge, it was a debate saying that ecology is 100% owner of economy, and economy is only an outsourced product of the ecology because everything that you do actually adds up to it, just adding further to this point. So I'm very happy that what you said. Why don't we take it to the next level? Do you think that India is in a position to actually implement such a item with the population pressure, with the only yardstick for development being GDP and per capita income?
I think yes. If I even if I take India as the next question, but say, what does science tell us? I think the
Yeah,
science is very clear that the world must act now if you're going to avoid the worst consequences of climate change. That's the reality.
right,
I think
right.
I agree with you that we need to be aware and behave responsibly as we push for economic growth. And we need to make commitments for the ecological economy. And I think that's even more true for India, I would say, than anyone else, because we have an opportunity to do a lot more. I think there are challenges in India that we need to solve for, e.g., agriculture. Now, as we solve for agriculture using technology, if we keep ecology as a part of decision-making process, which I think what you explained earlier, one of the challenges this is not happening was because uh, I think the measurement hasn't existed. And if you don't measure, you don't act on it. So just the idea that you explained before that measurement is being thought about and there is a way to start measuring it, I think will have an impact. So I think given science, given what we know today, we must act now. And I must say, at least as Google, as our CEO Sundar Pichai said, sustainability has been a core value for Google since Larry and Sergey founded Google 2 decades ago. I think, and there is a learning there I see that we must think about. And I don't think it was a big issue at that point of time, but Google was one of the first major companies to become carbon neutral in 2007. And we have eliminated our entire carbon legacy by 2020, actually this year. We are
Wow.
first major company to match our energy use with 100% renewable energy in 2017. And we operate one of the cleanest global cloud in the industry. And we're the world's largest corporate purchaser of renewable energy in the world. And he made a very interesting commitment, and I'm sure you've heard about it earlier this year, that Google will operate on 24 by 7 carbon free energy in all our data center and campuses worldwide by 2030. So I do think that if businesses need add their weight to the idea that you are proposing of ecological economy, then we can start making a difference bit by bit. It won't change in one day, but if many people come together, and I think India can leapfrog ahead of many other countries in the world because we have shown across many parts of our, when we went into telecom revolution, we went from almost 2% penetration of landline to today 90% penetration of mobile phones in just 2 decades. So we have both the technical power, we have the technical capability, and we have the commitment of the country that once we choose to do something, we can make it happen. So I draw my inspiration from both what India has done in the past and also from what Google has shown in some way that if you put your mind to it, it is possible.
That is fantastic. Wow. In fact, I did read the report, and I think we were in conversation just after that report, saying
Correct.
the announcement that was made by Sundar. And I said that we definitely, meaning at Eastern Himalayas, want to be involved with this entire move of supporting Google in any way. And we are great consumers of Google. Both our foundation actually is linked with your charitable linkage of where people who in the social world can link in with the entire center. And we actually are beneficiaries of that. We're also beneficiaries of a very good knowledge bank that you have in terms of mapping. And we have been using that because our reforestation, if there is one mantra that we've learned, is the best thing to do is what we can do in our control is reforestation where communities own forests and then work out any kind of model of ecological economies from there. And we would love to sort of present it to you. But we basically have been very dependent on Google. You've also put us on touch with two of your other colleagues, and I'm not too sure where that progress is. But I think we need to act far more with far more alacrity from our side so that we can take up the offers that you have made. I don't know if
Yeah,
there's any more progress on what you are doing in India because of sustainable agriculture, flood forecasting, some fantastic stuff you all are doing. I don't know how we can work together or you just help you to work yourself, but just help you, meaning just because we think you're doing good work.
I think absolutely. I think one, we are very committed and we set up a research, AI research lab in India last year, which is headed by a gentleman called Manish Gupta, who is one of the very, very respected professionals in the area of AI. And we think two things. One, we can use technology to solve for big challenges that mankind and India faces in particular today. And I also think to solve for what we need to solve for, we need to forge partnerships. It's not about what Google can do. It is what Google can enable by knowing about technology, which can solve the challenges that many people are trying to. So we need the enterprise of almost every person who's interested in the idea of impacting society positively, while we bring the understanding of Google to come alive in terms of technology. So, as we had mentioned earlier, I think we'll be very happy to partner deeply with you through our research lab of AI and see what we can develop with your ideas in specific to solve for India. And I think, therefore, in my mind, I see this as an opportunity to really joint partnership with you to find more meaningful answers to the problem that you also identify and tell us maybe this is an idea that we should work on even more than we're working today, Ranjit.
Yeah, I think rather than I think we can take some of the thoughts that we have in terms of implementation really online, but offline and online both. Is that I think our inclusion. One of the things we want to convince Google is that we are working also with Bangladesh and Bhutan because all ecosystem services are there. For example, our EIA, as we were talking with Amitabh Khan, the head of environment, all the chief ministers are participants of that, the PM's office. It's incredible the kind of support we've got in understanding that legislation must change. And in fact, what we've mooted is that why can't the prime minister actually stand and create in the world's first ecological financial budget rather than a finance budget to say these are the assets we have. And that leads us onto something which we can work with Google for the entire region. And we want to work seamlessly with Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, and what do you call Nepal. That's one area I think if we just put our heads together, we will be understanding this entire flood system, the entire disaster management, which you all are already taken in advance. So we'll definitely want to look at that as an area of opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think the thing that we've really mooted is therefore saying that why doesn't every company actually present an ecological budget the way Google does? And Google is a very good example And we in the Eastern Himalayas, and I'm purposefully saying that while India can take a lead, I think the Eastern Himalayas as a contiguous system from the Himalayas, from snow line to sea line, is very important, because otherwise we're talking about a country mechanism where the controls are actually in other countries. So then you can't really succeed in what we're doing. And our biggest thing is that we want to be the first in the world to announce, and hopefully this forum will allow, to do that. We want to create 1 trillion natural assets. And 1 trillion national assets will be in all the countries that I've mentioned. We've already done 5 million. And that's another area which we want to do, because it creates employment and it creates measurement. What we need from Google is how do we measure and how do we map out this entire program of 1 trillion. And I'm saying that's easy for you all. You know what I mean? Because we know the vacant land, we know the communities. For you to map both of this will be something that will help ecology's economy, the entire concept.
I agree with you. And I must say, I must add, I think, yes, we do need to focus on the ecological budget, as you said. And the big question comes is, how do you measure it? How do you make it simple enough to be understood by both people in governance, corporates, and society at large? Because people should understand it intuitively. And then the importance and urgency of solving for this have to be valued by all stakeholders. And I'll give you an example of what, not exactly what you're doing, but some simple thing that we have been doing at Google is, as you know, cities create 70% of the world's emissions. And we have a wing called Google Environmental Insights Explorer, has been partnering with more than 100 cities to track and reduce their building and transportation carbon emissions and maximize their renewable energy use by informing them of their solar potential. And we announced recently that this tool we're expanding to measure 3,000 cities worldwide. And
Wow.
what we are committed to, what we announced also was that Google is committed to help more than 500 cities and local governments globally to reduce a total of 1 gigaton of carbon emissions annually by 2030. And that's the equivalent of annual carbon emissions of a country the size of Japan. And I
Wow.
think, to me, this whole idea of knowing and measuring, as you talked about, is important. I think you're talking about how to use the Eastern Himalayan
Himalayas.
as the area. I think what we have focused so far on cities because they were the biggest creators of imbalance, so to say. And what you
Yeah.
are saying is how do you preserve what is really the, in some way, the preservation corridor of the world, which is the nature corridor of the world. And I think if you are able to join these two ideas, which is, so we are very supportive of the idea that Bali Para Foundation is pursuing, which is in some way the full value of nature in the GDP measurements. I think, and that's really, really powerful. If we can create that and we can partner with you, at least bring you all the learning that we have from our environmental insights explorer work that we've done to see how we can help you catalyze the motion and the movement that you want to catalyze.
No, fantastic. And one of the things that we've done, and I don't know how this resonates with you, we've been creating rural employment. And there are two things there. The rural employment is being created because we are doing this entire value chain. The tree planting mechanism is starting from sourcing the seed to actually managing the growth for the next 5 years, for which we actually get the communities involved and pay them. And they themselves actually are guarding this whole thing. So that measurement with you and that management with you will be absolutely critical. It'll be a sample for the world. In other words, we're talking about mitigation and adaptation. You're saying, how do we mitigate the cities? We are saying, how do we adopt and create more resources that will absorb carbon and do the necessary. So I think you're right in saying that we need the bridge to actually make sure that happens. The second is we've mooted the governments, and we are the first NGO in the world who's done this. We've done a paper called saying, if you value nature, say Arunachal, we value all the natural assets, as is just the trees. Let's not complicate butterflies and bees. That value of that can be used as a sort of mortgage for loans. Right now, all countries are going through this whole challenge of debt mechanisms. And debt mechanisms are difficult because you have only instruments which are similar: bank, reserve bank, gold. We are saying that actually, if your natural capital is measured, guys, meaning in India, you give that as your sort of mortgage. So this has resonated very well with people and making a lot of movements. We've run it past London School of Economics, Nick Stern. We've talked to Joseph Stiglitz. They all love the idea and they're going to write about it. You see, we don't mind plagiarism in the subject as long as we achieve what we want to. How do you think that will work?
I think that's a very, very powerful idea. And I think what you said earlier, the idea conceptually is very powerful. If you get the Honorable Prime Minister to talk about the ecological budget or the assets that we have, because we need to bring a lot more energy and inspiration into this thought. I think
Right.
today this thought is far more, I think intellectually people understand it. But if I don't feel what we are losing every day by doing something which
Perfect.
is not correct, it's
Correct.
not becoming the, it's not, it's not core to the things that society worries about every day. Like we worry about many things. We worry about coronavirus today a lot because we know that it is harmful and you can see it every day, the number of cases, the challenges. I think equally, if you're able to bring to life either positively or what's possible, as you said, because you can make these assets valuable and use that to borrow, use that to really build assets and use that to really build a new is positive way, or people understand that if we don't do something, what's the harm happening every day? So I think bringing measurement and inspiration, and I think both the ideas that you touched upon are very, very powerful. But it needs, in my mind, deep partnerships to bring this vision to life. It will need academics, it'll need businesses, large or small, it'll need entrepreneurs to come together and make this idea an idea which India and people in this Eastern Himalayan corridor deeply care about and feel for and therefore strive for.
No, in fact, actually, we did a back of envelope calculation and found that actually nature in 100, 200 trillion economy in the world, and I'm just rounding it off, it's 186 according to last estimate. Nature contributes more than 60% of that in some way, directly or indirectly, because if you take the elements, which is naturenomics, we call it land, energy, waste, water, air, and carbon. These were the six, we call it LEVAC, and we found that if you take this measurement into and put it into any industry and say, measure them, saying how much of land have you degraded or not, how much of the air have you polluted or not, and how much mitigation have you done because of the mitigation that you're talking about. You know, I remember reading about Google when we first started Naturenomics, I think in 2007 or 8, you had a waterfall. And from that waterfall, the entire Google sort of aircon systems were actually being cooled, and actually the energy came just immediately after that. So Google has actually taken a lot of lead by your founders, and of course now with you and Sundar Pichai and people like that taking it further, I think we will be able to sort of meet a lot of traction. The great thing is, if you see the speech of Mr. Amitabh Kant, he said the Prime Minister has said that economy should be at the center of our economic activity. And I asked him the same question, what do you think of him doing that? He said, I think it's a good idea. We should moot it. Let us do it together. I think when you see his speech, I think we've done that. We've got incredible speakers and saying all resonating the same thing. I think this whole compilation would be great. I think in the next one, I would definitely, there are three things that we want to do in Balipara Foundation to spread our thoughts, and we would want you to do it. One is if we can do an open hall to people in Google, as we have done to Red Bull, as we've done in Diageo, meaning people, as we're doing in what do you call with Paul Polman in Unilever. We would like to do one in India or Southeast Asia, and we would like to do a town hall with your top leadership in the US, including with Sundar, to tell him how important we believe this valuation is and what valuation we've done. So at some point in time in the near future, if you can give us this opportunity, you set it up with debates, we will get similar people to come and participate, not just myself. I don't know how that resonates with you.
I agree with you. I think Balipara Foundation is doing a fabulous job in bringing focus on this issue. I think this requires awareness and then partnerships to bring this vision to life. As
Right.
Google will be really happy to partner with you in this journey. We also, besides taking it open to our people across Google, we also run a concept called 20%, where some of the people can be almost seconded to an idea or a project where they spend the next 6 months. People who are working in Google, but we give them the flexibility to work on a
Yeah.
project, and we can open up the idea that you are mooting, Ranjit, as an idea for Googlers in India. And there are
Wow.
very high quality engineers that we have. If some of them feel excited about this idea, to say they will work with you and your idea for the next 6 months, full time,
No, no,
to help bring
complete.
this idea to life.
And we were, our partnership include London School of Economics, the Columbia University, Yale, Harvard. They send people to us now with Ashoka University. We have interns who come from all these universities and work with us here. So there's no reason why, meaning the Googlers won't actually buy it, because these are the future generation that will matter. But I really thank you, appreciate, and are humbled by your offer.